Hello, hello. This is a new episode of this KSM podcast. This is Kristina, your host today, and I run new episode of KSM podcast, going growing business online with Kristina. Today I have my special guest, Rachel Morgan. Rachel, welcome to the new episode of KSM podcast.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to chat with you today.
Yeah, this is really nice. And what I know about you, and when I met you online, that you're a sales trainer, but you are going to tell us a little bit about you, introduce yourself, and tell us who you are, what you do, where are you based.
My name is Rachel Morgan. I'm based in Seattle, Washington, and I am a retail sales coach. So I work with retailers and I help train their teams so that their salespeople are real salespeople and they have fun selling, that they're excited to do it. And so I work primarily with luxury retailers and we cover everything from engaging customers, upselling, cross-selling, following up, retention, customer experience. And so think of me like a sales trainer, but also a business consultant. And I got into this because you asked over 13 years ago. When I started in retail, and I got a lot of experience working as for a fine jewelry company. And I worked as a manager where I got to oversee a couple stores and manage my own team and learned a lot about training and developing people and seeing how important it is to have really effective sales training and the influence that can have on sales performance and just workplace culture in general and team motivation, and seeing also how important it is to have a really good onboarding strategy as well and making sure that you're training from the get-go. So that's what led me to do this and eventually start my own business and become a sales trainer so I could work with other businesses and help them do the same.
Oh, that's really nice, and I know that you and I met you in some workshop and masterclass with Catherine Beltran. She's my amazing online friend. And to be honest, I didn't, as a digital marketing coach, I didn't build my Instagram site page a lot, but I started to see that there are many people who just really are there, out there, and do live Instagram and many things. And when I saw that, I saw, oh, this lady is really amazing. She's a sales trainer, so I was so happy with that. And now we are here to have conversation and to be my guest speaker today. And can you tell us a little bit about your background? Why did you start, and how did you start working in the area of as a sales trainer? But I know that you work mostly offline, as you told me, and we will
Mhm.
talk and focus on that in person, working with clients in your area.
Yeah, I know. I love that we connected. Catherine Beltran and I did a live together, and you were able to attend and listen in. And I love that we met each other through that. So it just like truly goes to show the power of online. Like you never know who you're going to meet and where things can lead. So I'm grateful for that. So thank you. Like I said, I have worked in retail sales for 13 years. I primarily worked as a store manager for a fine jewelry company. And I spent a lot of time learning how to hire, onboard, train, develop, payroll, scheduling, meetings, all the things, right? But the one thing that really lit me up was actually training people and developing training and showing them that sales could be fun and it doesn't have to be pushy and sleazy and manipulative. And you can actually like come from this place of serving. And so what I started to also see was a lack of good customer service. And seeing how important that is also to the sales process. And so in 2020, I left my role, decided to start my own business. And like I said before as well, I also just really wanted to help businesses improve their customer service and their client relationships. And so I originally started online and I was sales coaching online for a little bit, but realized that my heart was really brick and mortar and face to face sales. And so I made that pivot back in the last 6 months. And it's been an amazing transition. I absolutely love it. I miss people in person, and there's just something really special about it as well, having that connection. So that's what kind of led me here to want to pursue more sales training.
Oh, that's really nice. And do you work a lot in your area of when you are based, where you live, or just you can travel and work with people, sales training all around the USA?
So when I was previously doing more online sales coaching, I was working with people all over the world. Now I'm a little bit more hyper focused on my local communities. So I spend a lot of time networking, going to local chamber events, getting involved. Of course, going to those events lead to other networking groups and meeting more people. But I really want to help the local brick and mortar stores here. And so I tend to spend a lot of time in this area. But I do still work with a few clients online as well that have businesses, and I'm able to still coach them that way too.
So this is the beauty of technology, that we can talk together today and
Yeah.
have you as my special guest speaker. So I appreciated that a lot, and we can learn from each other. But also, you have your experience in online space and offline. So yeah, and I do a lot remotely because I'm in Europe. So my podcast is approach to much more to online space and focus on that. But when you tell, and I think that you like your business, that you like really what you do, isn't it?
I love it. Yes. I mean, you have to be excited about what you're doing, right? Because you're spending a lot of time doing it.
Yeah, and me too. I really love what I
Mhm.
do. And I said I traveled all around the world. If I'm in front of my computer and technology, I met you. This is really awesome, which what we mentioned before in this podcast today. And also, when you work with people, when you coach people, what do you coach them? How do you do that? Just like it's a question
Yeah.
in person. I love my job. You love your. Can you tell us, and how do you work with them? Do you work in coaching, one-to-one, one-to-group? And
Mhm.
and when you make new connection in Chamber of Commerce, do you follow up? How you just build your community in let's say in person,
Yeah.
and also you will connect also in online space, because you're not so close to each other, because as
Right. I love these questions. These are all great. So let me start with the first one. So the first one was, how do I work with my clients? So first of all, I do workshops. So that one, it could be more like they come to me and they're like, hey, Rachel, I really love you to speak about this. This is something I'm seeing. Can we do a workshop? And so I have a couple different topics that I can speak to, and I'll spend time with you and your team. Or sometimes I've done some chamber things. So it could be like businesses, right? Not necessarily like a team, like a group of people. And I'll incorporate different activities and exercises to get people actually putting into action what I'm teaching as I'm teaching it. So I don't love when, like you're sitting in a presentation and someone um, is just speaking at you and you're just sitting there taking notes the whole time. So I really want people to feel a part of it in like a very collaborative process. And I also think that we just retain and learn better. So that's kind of how I go about doing my workshops. Now, in terms of the consultation, what I do is I go into the business. So this is why it's really good to be local. And I spend about a week with them and I spend time observing them, seeing what's happening. How are they talking to their customers? What are they doing when it's busy? Are they acknowledging people as they come through the door? Um, what are they doing when it's slow? How are they driving business when there might not be traffic in their store? How are they reaching out to former and existing clients? And also looking at their base metrics. Like, how are they actually selling? Like, you need like a base point, right? How they're performing. Otherwise, you don't know how to improve. And so we spend this like really deep dive time just going to their business, seeing what's happening. And then I put together a super personalized plan for them. Like, here's your strengths. This is great. Let's keep strengthening them. But here's some opportunities and let's do some training. So then from there, I'll do a little workshop presentation with their team. I'll come up with the same thing with like exercises, activities that they can work on for the week. And I'm there to support them as they're learning and implementing some changes. And so this is a little bit more in depth, a little bit of a longer process because obviously things don't change overnight. But it's a great way to really get a really personalized coaching to help them with their business. And then if you're online, obviously I'm not there in person, but we'll also spend the same time going into your business, what your concerns are, what's happening. I may want to look at, some of if you're doing sales calls, see what's happening there, how you're talking to people, and come up with a plan from there. And then we'll work together and do weekly trainings as well to help you.
And do your clients have some kind of homework, just to do it, like
Mhm.
in that 7 days or
Yeah.
which you mentioned? And this is one. The other one is when you know that we are all in sales area, in sales workers, because we all do something, either
Mhm.
that we do create product or services, whatever it may be. And how can you, for our listeners, give them something just to how they need to be, how they have to be in terms when they think about, and how they are going to be in their mind in terms to offer something, to speak to customers, what they need to feel, or on psychological side maybe, or feeling what.
Right. So, yes, I do give multiple exercises because there are multiple ways to learn things, and you have to repeatedly do something in order to develop that behavior and that pattern, right? Like it's not an overnight thing as much as we all wish it was, right? Like we all wish there was that one magic thing that just changed, but really developing a skill, which is how I see sales, does take multiple attempts. And so there'll be lots of exercises, lots of activities that they can do to help them, and I'm there also to help them along the way so they can come to me for feedback and help, and I'll give them that feedback, right? Because that's really important. We don't know what we're doing right or wrong. In terms of like something that like I think what you're asking is like, do I have like a tip I can share with people?
Yeah, like this, just for listeners who listen, maybe they will have something and they will be influenced to move forward in their sales conversation, just to have some tricks or tips, whatever
Yeah,
maybe just engage them, to encourage them to move forward, because there are many people who are not sales.
right. So I would say that we often see sales as being like a really short-term focus. And so we think about what can I be doing right now today to make a sale? And what ends up happening is we end up being a little bit more salesy and pushy than we realize because we end up having this like mindset like transactional. Like I have to close this transaction today. So I want you to remember that sales is really a long-term focus and that sometimes it takes a little bit of work now in order to get more consistent long-term sales. And so that kind of a mindset tends to be a little bit more relationship based. And so I really encourage you, if you are looking for clients, like go reach out, go talk to someone, have some non-business conversations and like just get to know the other person, check in with them like you would a friend or a family member. And maybe that's a former client, maybe it's someone that's reached out to you before. Just go kind of say hi and keep that conversation going. And eventually, like they'll see that and hopefully they'll convert or they'll know someone or they'll recommend you. But conversation can go a very long way. And so don't discredit it. I know it can be frustrating, like, oh, they're not buying today. I'm reaching out and putting this effort, but people buy from people that they trust. And a lot of trust is showing that you are a genuine person, that you have someone's best interest in mind. And it's really hard to demonstrate that when all we're doing is constantly pitching or trying to close a sale that day. And so when we take the time to reach out and say hello, check in with people, get to know them, be curious a little bit, you can really start building trust with people so that they potentially want to do business with you.
Yes, this is really, and thank you for explanation. But we in all thing is to build relationship, and so I think that sales is not just thing to and done get things done over the night, because we need to build trustworthy. We need to build community. We need to build. I had an experience when one lady from US, we've done logo for her, and after two years of connection, we're still in way to my team to build for her landing page. So,
Yeah.
and this is nurturing. This is the beauty of nurturing connection,
Mhm.
promoting and speak to people. And by the way, I think that we are also not say energetical human, but we have energy, and also we cannot work with everyone. What they think.
Mhm. I agree. Right. Right. It's that word nurturing, right? It's not just building a relationship for the sake of building one. It's actually nurturing it, maintaining it, following up with people. Because I don't know about you, but I'm much more likely to hire the person that I've gotten to know versus the person that I've just met today, right? Because I know that person I've gotten to know knows me inside out, knows my personality. Like there's just a built connection. And so when I'm finally ready to purchase something or buy something, I'm going to go to the person that I built a relationship with over the person I just met, right?
Yeah, I'm totally agree with you. I'm so similar. I work in that way to connect with people and to nurture them and have strategy session call. It's to know each other deeper, to get in deeper inside, to connect, to build credibility, and people know. For example, it was like a month ago. Let's say 3 weeks ago, I'm in connection with a lady in Australia, and she was my guest speaker, and we're in connection 10 years. Just imagine how it, and she's also podcasting, and she's what pioneer of podcasting, but it was like, okay, this is amazing, and she said, Kristina, and immediately she said, I wanted to be your guest speaker. Just imagine how is long-term connection. There are people who are
Yeah.
in person, and my goal, my aim is to build very, very long-term connection, trustworthy credibility. And this is the way when you have your community, you can refer to me, I can refer to you, and this is how it's going. As I said, how we met each other. It's
Hmm.
also by a common connection. That's
Right.
really amazing.
Yeah, I love that. I bet that felt so good for her to say that too, to you, that she wanted to like be on your podcast and be connected with you. And, it's nice when people just recognize you and appreciate you and value you.
Yeah, this is, and when I saw you, and when I was listening to what you do, and I really would love to learn from you about sales, because you, as you said, that you have your online experience, which is so good for people. There are, maybe you will have customers who wanted to work with you, but you cannot work with them in person, which is
Mhm.
so good, that they have option to work with you just only in online, but you're
Yeah.
much more focused on, in the in-person connection is so good. I love that.
Mm.
And let me know when you sometimes, for example, when you work in person, and
Mhm.
this is going to be that there's some people, your clients don't have time to move in a second session with you. Maybe you can use it online space just to connect
Mhm.
with them and talk on a Zoom or Meet.
Right.
So
Right. There's so much technology today. Like it's amazing, like just how you can deliver things and provide them. And like you said, like I, never would have imagined being able to be an online sales coach or well, not that I am anymore, but I have the opportunity to do that if I needed to. And you know, and just in person, right? Like you can deliver things over Zoom or there's just so many ways.
yeah, but and also in terms to connect to people, you do you use most? What is your favorite
Mm,
platform? For example, just to get in
yeah,
connection, and then you can move forward in your sales of in your sales training. With them. To have
right.
them as potential leads and prospects to convert them into your customers.
So I do utilize Instagram the most, and I love Instagram just because of the stories feature. I love how visual Instagram is, and it's also just a really beautiful way to have like a portfolio. So if someone finds me and they just want to like binge me and know what I'm about. I love that they can go through my content, and it's just very visually appealing. But I do also use LinkedIn as well. But Instagram tends to be my primary social
And
media source.
can you tell us the name of your Instagram
Yeah,
profile
so
for
it's
listeners who will listen to this podcast today?
Yeah, I would love for anyone listening, like, please reach out, come say hi, let me know. And my handle is Rachel Morgan Coaching. So RachelMorgan and coaching.
Is it so similar, the same name on LinkedIn as well?
Yep, same name, Rachel Morgan Coaching. Yep.
Oh, that's really nice. I love that. So yeah. And when you and that, as you said that you like your job, and I can see that you're so passionate about speaking, and what do you tell to people, can then, for people who are shy in terms to do sale, to sell something?
Mm,
Maybe they are shy. They are either in person or in online or whenever they are,
right.
wherever they are. So
So often I hear that, oh, because I'm introvert, I can't sell. And that is so not the case. In my experience, some of the best salespeople have been introverts because they have this really great ability of listening. Not that an extrovert doesn't listen, because I would say I'm extroverted and I'm a pretty good listener, but um it's sales is really about communication, and it's about knowing how your words influence the reactions you get. And so that kind of comes down to like psychology, right? And so you're learning how to present yourself. And so you're really just like, if you understand that sales is about serving and helping people, I think we all want to feel that, regardless if we're extrovert, introvert, shy, not shy, right? And so if you're, one on one with someone, you just have to focus on, how am I really helping this person? Am I listening to what they need? And how am I helping them get to that point, right? People are people. They're nice, they're compassionate, they're kind for the most part, right? And so um it's often reciprocated. So the energy we put out, we receive as well. And so just, I guess I would say, if you feel like you're shy, just remember, like, it's really just a conversation with someone, right? Don't focus on like the pitch or the perfect pitch or using the right words to close. Just focus on who's in front of you and the conversation you're having with them.
And I think that it was like approximately, for example, to be honest, I don't like cold calls, to be honest.
Mm.
But if you do, let's say three, it was like three per day, let's say, it's going to be 15 per week. So it's going to be 60 per month. You will create maybe 2 or 3 sales. I mean, it was some kind of statistics. I was researching something like that. I think that is something familiar to you as well.
I don't know the statistics on cold calling. I am not personally a fan of any cold pitching, cold
No, but not
emailing,
on
but
cold, but any way of connection to people, to send them email or to meet them
right,
in person or online or networking, whatever.
right. Well, so the reason that I typically don't like cold calling
Me
is, like
too.
you
I
said,
don't like it, to be honest. This is only what I mentioned, just by the way, about
right.
selling.
Right. It typically has a really low conversion rate because, and it takes a lot of energy. And I think that your energy can be better spent. So if we're talking about like networking and I'm following up, I think that when you're meeting people face to face and you're networking, or if you're maybe online, you're having conversations, the conversations you have in that moment are going to make it better and easier to follow up for a response. Right. And so if you're just kind of like, hey, I'm Rachel. This is what I do. Do you have a card? Let's exchange it. Cool, great. And then you're sending an email, like, they're not going to remember you. It's kind of like you're very transactional. It's the same as kind of cold pitching. But if you're spending that time and you're meeting people and you're like, hey, I'm Rachel, like, tell me more about what you do. I'm really interested. And you're kind of having this conversation going, they're going to be really excited to hear from you, right? And you're more likely to hear from them. And there's the potential to work together, right?
Yeah, that's yeah, I agree with you. And I love that, just it's like spontaneously to connect to people, networking, is it in person, in Chamber of Commerce, webinar, conferences, is it offline and online, and you can do it. And I love that when I speak about something and what I do follow up email in terms to get to them, to know that person, to get to know that person, or that this person get to know me.
Right.
That's
Right.
Yes, this is so nice. Yeah, and I didn't ask you about your ideal client, maybe, or ideal company, or how do you work? Are you going to some companies and be with them, with their employees, for example? Do you have some kind of coaching like this to train them? Maybe 10 people in company, 20, depends, or just one. And maybe before we ramp up this call, just to tell us about, and to send message to people in terms to make decisions, start their business, and not be shy in terms of sale.
Yeah. So my ideal customer that I like to work with is retail. I just, like I said, I love brick and mortar and I love product based. That's my experience. And I tend to kind of be more drawn to luxury. So anything that's considered like a luxury retail item, especially because it's high end. You're dealing with, there's a lot that needs to be trained to, like with price and comfort and confidence, and customer service and customer experience is really important. And so I love to work with those people. And so, if you're a business and you feel like customers are coming in, but they're leaving without bags in their hands, I help fix that, right? To get your conversion rate up. Or maybe you feel like you're not on the same page with your team, you're not communicating, nobody feels motivated. And so we're going to work on that. We're going to fix that as well. Or maybe you need to increase your sales, you're barely reaching your monthly goals, and you're like, why is my team like, how can I get them to start selling more and be excited and get it and get past that pushy mindset so that they see sales as serving? I help fix that with you as well. And so, sorry, I think I lost like what your second
No,
question
yeah,
was.
it was
Maybe
like a
repeat that.
message to encourage people to start their business and be we
Yes.
everything what we do we need to sell,
Great. I think, okay, so here's my takeaway. We often see sales as this thing we have to do, but I want to remind you that you have a passion. You want to help people, and you know that what you do can really change someone's life, right? Whether you sell a product or a service, you know that whatever you have to sell is going to make a difference in someone's life, right? And so when we don't sell it and we don't talk about it, you're just servicing the person that you're talking to because they don't get the opportunity to experience it, right? But you're also just servicing what you sell because it doesn't get its chance to shine and make a difference, but you're also just servicing yourself. And so I really want you to see sales as this thing that is like serving and good. And it doesn't have to be inherently bad, right? You're not manipulating, right, in order to get someone to say yes and buy and purchase. But your goal, hopefully, is to make someone's life better. And why would you not want to talk about that with people, right?
Yeah, that's really nice. I love that. And especially for people who ramp up their, corporate job or, have a lot of experience and wanted to start their businesses. So for your listeners, this podcast is going to be on Spotify, on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and it's going to be on Google, Apple very, very, very soon. So you can connect with Rachel and also in my KSM group, Growing Business Online with Kristina. You can connect with Rachel Morgan on Instagram, Rachel Morgan Coaching, on LinkedIn, Rachel Morgan Coaching, and Rachel. I wanted to say you big thanks for today's guesting you and hosting you as my special guest speaker. I think that I asked you many questions today, but because there are going to be much more, but you will be maybe in the next, we will have many new episodes. So maybe you will be again my guest speaker as well.
Well, thank you. And thank you for thinking of me and asking me to be on. And I hope you, as a listener, also found some value today. And of course, please reach out to either of us. I know we would love to both answer any questions that you have. And just remember, like, sales is a good thing. And we all start somewhere. And sales really is an ongoing thing, it's not a one and done. So, there's always something new to be learned. That's the beauty of being an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah, thank you so much and see you very soon. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm
Yes.
super, super excited having you today. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye. Goodbye. Bye bye.